The world watches in horror as conflicts rage in Ukraine and the Middle East. These are not just humanitarian crises, they are economic ones. The impact of these wars reverberates across the globe, shaking the foundations of the global economy. Oil markets are thrown into turmoil. Food prices skyrocket, pushing millions towards hunger. Supply chains, the arteries of global trade, are severed, leaving businesses and consumers reeling. In a world already grappling with the aftermath of a global pandemic, these conflicts threaten to unravel the fragile fabric of global stability. The economic fallout is undeniable, and the world is forced to confront a stark reality. In the 21st century, the battleground extends far beyond geographical borders, and the cost of war is measured not just in lives lost, but in economic ruin. From the breadbaskets of Ukraine to the energy corridors of the Middle East, these conflicts are a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of our world. No nation is immune to the ripple effects of war. The global economy, already weakened by years of uncertainty, is now facing its most serious test yet. The stakes are high, and the need for collective action has never been greater. The path forward is fraught with challenges, but one thing is clear. The only way to mitigate the economic fallout of these wars is through international cooperation, innovative solutions, and an unwavering commitment to peace. The global energy market is in a state of disarray, and the epicenter of this upheaval lies in the war-torn regions of Ukraine and the Middle East. Russia, a major player in the global energy market, has seen its exports disrupted due to sanctions imposed in response to the conflict in Ukraine. This disruption sent shockwaves through the global oil market, causing prices to soar to record highs in 2022 and early 2023. While the initial shock has subsided somewhat, the oil market remains volatile. The situation is further complicated by tensions in the Middle East. The recent escalation of violence in the region, including the devastating Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon, has added fuel to the fire, causing further price spikes. The interconnectedness of these conflicts and their impact on global energy security is undeniable. The world is now witnessing the consequences of over-reliance on a few volatile regions for its energy needs. The breadbasket of Europe lies in ruins. Ukraine, once a major exporter of wheat, barley, and sunflower oil, is now struggling to feed its own people, let alone supply the world. The conflict has decimated agricultural production, disrupted supply chains, and driven millions into food insecurity. The impact is felt far beyond Ukraine's borders. Countries in Africa and the Middle East, heavily reliant on Ukrainian grain, are facing a looming food crisis. The situation is exacerbated by the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, which have disrupted regional food production and distribution networks. The recent escalation of violence in Gaza, resulting in thousands of casualties and widespread displacement, has further exacerbated food insecurity in the region. The combined impact of these conflicts is a humanitarian catastrophe, pushing millions to the brink of starvation. The global supply chain, once a marvel of interconnectedness, is now a web of broken links and bottlenecks. The conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East have exposed the fragility of a system heavily reliant on a few key nodes. Sanctions, trade disruptions, and the destruction of critical infrastructure have all contributed to a perfect storm of supply chain chaos. The impact is felt across all sectors of the economy. Manufacturers face shortages of raw materials and components, leading to production delays and increased costs. Consumers are confronted with empty shelves, rising prices, and a decline in the availability of essential goods. The global supply chain, once a symbol of efficiency and interconnectedness, has become a stark reminder of the interconnectedness of global risks. The economic fallout of the conflicts in Ukraine and the Middle East is not confined to oil, food, and supply chains. These are merely the most visible manifestations of a much deeper and more pervasive crisis. The interconnectedness of the global economy means that shocks in one region inevitably ripple outwards, impacting everything from inflation to financial markets. The rise in oil prices, for example, has a cascading effect on the cost of transportation, manufacturing, and ultimately consumer goods. Food shortages lead to price hikes, social unrest, and political instability. Disruptions to supply chains create uncertainty, discourage investment, and stifle economic growth. The world is witnessing a domino effect as the economic consequences of conflict cascade across borders, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Section 6. Towards resilience, navigating the storm. The current crises expose the vulnerabilities of a globalized world heavily reliant on a few key actors and regions. The need for greater economic resilience has never been more apparent. This requires a multi-pronged approach, encompassing everything from diversifying supply chains to investing in renewable energy sources. Governments and businesses alike must prioritize building more robust and adaptable systems that can withstand future shocks. This includes finding alternative sources for critical raw materials, fostering greater regional cooperation, and investing in technologies that enhance efficiency and reduce dependence on volatile regions. The path to resilience will be challenging, requiring significant investment and a fundamental shift in thinking. Section 7. A new world order shifting power dynamics. The ongoing conflicts are not just reshaping the global economic landscape, they are accelerating a geopolitical power shift. The existing world order, characterized by Western dominance, is being challenged as new alliances emerge and old rivalries resurface. The conflict in Ukraine in particular has highlighted the growing assertiveness of Russia and its allies, as well as the limitations of Western influence. The Middle East, traditionally a region of significant Western influence, is also experiencing a shift in the balance of power. The United States, once the undisputed arbiter of the region, is now facing competition from other global players, including China and Russia. This geopolitical realignment has profound implications for the global economy, as new trade routes are established and old alliances are tested. Section 8. The price of peace. Economic costs and global instability. The economic costs of war are staggering. Beyond the immediate destruction of infrastructure and loss of life, there are long-term consequences that can cripple economies and perpetuate cycles of poverty and instability. Rebuilding shattered economies requires massive investment and a sustained commitment from the international community. Moreover, the instability generated by conflict can spill over borders, fueling terrorism, migration crises, and regional instability. The current conflicts are a stark reminder that peace is not just a moral imperative, but an economic necessity. Investing in diplomacy, conflict resolution, and sustainable development is not just a matter of compassion, it is a matter of global security and economic well-being. Section 9. A call to action, collaboration, and sustainable solutions. The challenges facing the global economy are daunting, but not insurmountable. This is a time for leadership, innovation, and above all, collective action. The interconnected nature of the challenges demands a coordinated global response. Governments, international organizations, businesses, and individuals must work together to mitigate the economic fallout of these conflicts and build a more resilient and sustainable future. This requires investing in conflict resolution, strengthening global institutions, promoting sustainable development, and fostering greater dialogue and understanding across cultures and nations. The time for complacency is over. The future of the global economy, and indeed the planet, depends on our collective ability to choose cooperation over conflict and build a more just and equitable world.